I'm Chris Edmonds. I'm originally from Brookings, live in Esteline. Still work in Brookings, work at Larson Manufacturing. I've got an amazing wife and 3 beautiful kids. So whenever I'm not at work, I'm still at work. So my throat hurt. I felt really kind of weak, like you do if you're just like super sick. And then kind of like body aches and sores, almost like if you went and hit the gym really hard one day and the next day your muscles were kind of telling you about it. That's kind of how I felt. And so it was already, mid-afternoon on Sunday by the time my wife and I kind of discussed, well, hey, maybe you should get tested. So first thing Monday morning, went in and got tested. So I kind of felt the brunt of it, to be honest. I had 10 straight days where my fever didn't break in hot and cold flashes and couldn't get up off the couch. So I didn't actually submit myself to Brookings Hospital until that following Wednesday after I got my positive test. So it was almost a whole week, mainly due to stubbornness, I suppose, or thinking that something was just gonna turn around, and it didn't. I drove myself from here to the clinic, and not even 5 minutes of being at the clinic with my doctor, they called an ambulance and ambulanced me over here. So they did the EKG, they tested my heart rate, tested how much oxygen I'm getting, giving me oxygen while doing all of this, but then kind of backing the oxygen off and kind of putting it back on just to kind of see where I'm at. I don't really remember much. They didn't wheelchair me up to where I was at. They bedded me up to where I was at. And I didn't leave my room for 5-6 days that I was here. So I really didn't know where I was at in the hospital. But the nursing staff was super nice. I had, for the most part, I carried over a weekend. So for the most part, I had the same day nurses. I had the same nighttime nurse. They're just really nice, really personable. They can come in and talk to you. Always asking if you need something. So for me, I felt like I was I'm the get up and do it myself kind of guy. So like I can't get out of bed because I'm hooked up to all this stuff and I couldn't breathe yet for the first few days. So it's like, hey, I just need water. Like I'm just thirsty. And they suggested doing the Propel stuff that you put in there. That was amazing. That was the first thing I tasted in like 4 days was that Propel. And so like I was like, yeah, just if you can keep mixing that for me, and eventually I just kind of went from that to just drinking straight ice water when I was here. I would talk to my wife and my kids, really the only people I would talk to while I was here. She was able to grab my tablet from work. Somebody from my work got it off my desk and brought it to her. So I was able to talk to her and FaceTime with her and the kids and let them know how I was going. It had to have been weird seeing like the tubes and whatever else like that, but like if I were to run from here to that elevator, I'd be out of breath, which wouldn't be too far behind where I would have been anyway, but a little bit more. Sometimes I'm still a little winded going up the stairs, but I'm sure that after a while all that will kind of go back to normal. I can play with my kids, I can, before, when I came into the hospital, to the emergency room or whatever, I could barely walk. I was walking like a 90-year-old man with a cane, taking short steps because I'm taking short breaths, and you can't do that much physical activity. And so I would say I'm like 99.7% back to normal as far as how I feel. Don't hesitate, if you feel like there's something, go get checked out. Kind of like what I was saying earlier, rule it out, because in that time where you're kind of in limbo of thinking, well, it could just be a cold or maybe it is COVID, you're out and about. You're at places like the grocery store. You're at places at work, passing somebody on the street. You could be passing it on to somebody and not knowing. So I think it's worth it to yourself, for one, but worth it to others too, to kind of just be cautious of that and just get checked out for it. So they're not disconnected from you. They want to know how you're doing. To make you comfortable, they ask a lot of questions about, yourself, your life at home, like how's that? And it kind of brings up a two-sided conversation. It's not just a one-sided. So not only are they getting to know you and you're getting to be familiar with them, but it's kind of the same on the other side. And so by the time you leave, there's like a great connection. It's like you almost made a friend. I mean, you're putting your life in their hands, to be honest. Like, I couldn't move from my bed. This person's taking care of me. So like, there's a trust there. So I'm trusting them to take care of me, and they're trusting that I'm going to tell them what's wrong if something's wrong. And so there's kind of that too. So I would definitely say, what I appreciated most was definitely the connection with the staff that I had while I was here. And of course, the fact that they knew, there's so much not to know about COVID-19, but they knew from treating so many people that have, come and gone through here as far as gotten treated and things like that they've been able to help, that they're like, okay, well, this is where you're at. And this is, they were able to set those goals, and they helped me get there. Is the biggest thing too. So they know what they're talking about. They're able to help. So I felt comforted knowing that.
Are you one of Brookings Health System's grateful patients who would like to give back to us? Learn more about how you can give back at brookingshealth.org/mythanks.